They don't get set. They don't put eyes and bodies in front of the path of a Florida guard. Way too easy transition game for Florida.
On top of that, the Gators are +7 on the glass here early on. Mark gets it to Graham, and he's going to the free throw line for a couple.
Walter Clayton Jr. He's got a lot of dog in him in the right way. He's got a terrific tight handle. Tom, he's shifty. He understands how to change speed, change direction. This kid is wired to score. The Iona transfer that chose the Gators, it came down to the Florida Gators and his former head coach Rick Pitino at St. John's. And man, what a get, right?
Yeah.
Todd Golden
had a chance to keep playing for Pitino at St. John's. They recruited him hard. Another one coming for Graham. Not a good free throw shooter. He misses them both. Just 41% on the season.
And to your point, the first half offensive woes continue for Arkansas.
Denzel Aberdeen got two Razorbacks in the air. Condon's 3 misses. It'll stay with Florida.
Still, though, good action by Florida. Driving hard, knowing that they're going to fill behind with a legitimate shooter. Those bigs for Florida, you watch them shoot in practice, you look at their numbers, well, they can really stretch you and open up the floor under Todd Golden right now.
Florida is 8-0 in the paint against Arkansas here early on. That was a real issue in the Auburn game a week ago at Bud Walton. And a foul and one coming. And Micah Handlockton will have a chance for a 3-point play.
Florida, one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the SEC. Now, the last couple of games in conference play, they've not get on the glass like they're capable of. But Arkansas, an undersized team, this Handlockton kid, all of 7'1", 230.
He got off to a great start this season. First 2 games, he scored a total of 30 on 14 of 18 shooting.
He needs strength, but he's a really good athlete, just a sophomore. Those young bigs of Florida are the best combination of young bigs in this league right now.
Yeah, 6'11" and 7 feet, and one of them Handlockton with the steal. Up ahead, and a foul on the rebound will go against Florida, and that will be charged to Alex Condon.
As the last 2 ball games in conference play, and then not gotten out of the 50s.
Yeah.
And 89 at the end of regulation against Kentucky today. That's the big question for me still with Kentucky. Do they have the defensive chops to win 6 in a row, which is the expectation in that program come March?
Here's Keon Menafield finally in the game at the under 12 for the first time. Florida has scored 18 of the last 20 in this game after Arkansas got out to a 7-5 lead. And a turnover, but a foul with it. And it will stay on this side.
When Florida goes to their continuity offense, it's ball screen, duck in, trying to hit you hard at the front of the rim, and right back to their ball screen action. One of the signs, are you really ready to play early, is the rebounding numbers. Florida, man, 13-5. Just bringing the gas right now in this game when the ball's on the glass on both ends.
Here's Poland, guarded by Mark, and then he gives it up and they'll reset. They've got good size in the backcourt. Nobody picks up Kugel.
A forceful drive, but weak defensive effort by Arkansas. Started on the ball, opened up the hips. No one alert on weak side defense.
Mark working on Poland. Tough shot. Hogs just won for their last 8. They haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. Meanwhile, Florida having their way with the drives. Brazil able to deflect it. How about Riley Kugel?
Well, he's a big-time athlete. He moves like a future pro. A little bit of a foot fake, and that's just a race to the rim. And Menafield, no one flying over with a purpose to get in front of Riley Kugel. Very disappointing defensive start for Eric Musselman, I know. You throw the scouting report out there, you walk through stuff, but at the end of the day, is it important to you or is it not? And Arkansas in that possession, not important enough.
Officials gathered and reversed the out-of-bounds call. It will be Arkansas basketball.
Kugel with a different role this year. He was the offensive weapon last year when Colin Castleman got hurt. Now he's surrounded by really good offensive talent and just trying to find his groove, trying to find his spot. But man, to see a talent, 2 in white with this ball.
There's a lid on the hoop for Arkansas. Brazil couldn't make the layup. And a physical drive from Kugel, back-to-back buckets. He only played 3 minutes last game.
Tom, and I love your description on the physical drive part. He got his shoulder, man, into that defender and just started knocking people out of the way.
Kugel was preseason first-team All-SEC, and he's playing like it today.
Kugel is, he's all of 6'5", and there's not a more explosive guy, Tom, in this league than Kugel. Now, he goes right and righter. He doesn't have a left hand that really can beat you. But if you can't take it away and he gets his shoulders into you, it is over. And Arkansas right now, they have been knocked back in this game on the road. How will they respond? Not a program that takes losing kindly.
Jimmy, they are only 3 for 14 from the floor, and 2 of those 3 makes were contested threes. Davenport got 1 of them. He wants it back. Guarded by a 7-footer. Davenport taking him to the rack. And he's able to draw the foul on Alex Condon.
Well, a pretty good physical drive by Davenport that time. Because I tell you what, Florida not afraid at all to pressure all 5 spots hot on the ball. Testing Arkansas's willingness and ability to drive by. And Davenport that time made him pay.
Florida scored 22 of the last 24. And that continues. Nothing working for this Arkansas team. Just 1 of 5 from the free throw line. Davenport came in at 9 for 12. It's been a frustrating early part of the season for Eric Musselman and his coaching staff. Great expectations with a top 5 class out of the transfer portal. Just hasn't materialized. 1 out of 2 for Davenport. Meanwhile, here's Clayton from deep, and that's wide left. Kugel skies for the rebound from 22 feet.
And Tom, this is a zone matchup by Arkansas. The first time they've ran it this year. 2-3 matchup. They've worked on it the last couple of days just to give Florida a different look completely because their man defense not able at all to stay in front of the ball.
5 seconds left on the shot clock. A baseline out of bounds coming after the block by Mekhi Mitchell. Florida red hot shooting, 53%. Shot clock at 2. And a loose ball taken away by Layden Blocker, seeing some early run. Pinion loses it, and the Gators get it back. Beautiful pass. Follow up after the missed layup, and the bucket belongs to Tyrese Samuel.
Man, penetrating drives and cutters just destroy your ability to box off. And Arkansas got caught in a scramble situation. And again, the strength of Florida is on the offensive glass. That's a big physical front line that is their oxygen in a game.
Davenport is fouled. If you just went on second chance points allowed, Florida with 9 of them would still be in this game.
What's the cut by Kugel? Right there, that's a baseline cut. And once he gets that ball on the rim, now your defense is out of rotation. And no one gets a body and shapes down on Tyrese Samuel. That's an easy hammer for the transfer from Seton Hall.
So Davenport at the free throw line. Back on track from the charity stripe. Arkansas needs the free throw line like they need oxygen. While they came into this SEC play as one of the better shooting teams in Eric Musselman's tenure, so far in this one, they're shooting just 21%.
And Tom, to your point, if you're Florida, defend without fouling, because Arkansas is struggling in their half-court offense. And don't allow a team that's getting another 27 times a game. Arkansas making 19. Don't allow Arkansas to hang in this game from that charity stripe.
On shot just 33% in the loss to Georgia. Loose ball off the backboard. The Razorbacks, the rare chance to run. And they get a bucket from Layden Blocker.
So the Arkansas zone defense now, they've gotten 2 stops out of it. And they go right back to it. And a good job by Blocker to get into the shot blocker right in front of the rim.
Eric Musselman doing everything he can from a personnel standpoint. That's a 3 for Zion Poland. He's got 9, but to that point, late blocker seeing some time early in this one. He barely played against Georgia. Joseph Pinion's been on the floor early.
Well, Eric Musselman has no answers right now for his club, so you've got an opportunity to get on the floor and make something good happen. You'll get playing time.
Brazil off the mark.
Arkansas right back into that high hand zone, but it is a matchup zone. Man-to-man responsibility. If you don't communicate, you will give up open ones.
Pinion the rebound. Here's Davenport. Lob. Great pass and a finish by Brazil.
I appreciate the pass by Davenport. And Eric Musselman likes this zone. He's gotten 3 or 4 stops out of it out of the 5 times that he's played it. And the question mark is always, can Arkansas rebound out of it against its outstanding offensive glass team?
Shot blocked by Mitchell. Brazil gets it. Eric Musselman told his team at shoot-around today, if you win the glass, you win the game. Nowhere close to that at this point. 3 ball good.
Big shot by Pinion. That's what he's on the floor to do. And the zone defense might help Pinion continue to stay on the floor. He's not a great man-to-man defender.
Clayton able to penetrate against the zone. Pinion got his hand in the passing lane. And another Arkansas takeaway. Florida led this game by 19 at one point. Pinion with the drive. And the finish. Back-to-back buckets for Joseph Pinion. And they've made it a 10-point game.
I talked about Joseph Pinion defensively, and this zone will allow him to get extended minutes today. Point forward. And Arkansas to surge back in this game because it looked like a knockout punch early by Florida.
Florida's had a couple of really big scoring runs, including an 11-0 run after Arkansas built a 7-5 lead, and then Eric Musselman basically emptied his bench. He went to a bunch of reserves, especially in the backcourt. They played really well. Here's Walter Clayton Jr. and the Iona transfer, who's their leading scorer, gets his 9th point of the half.
Now I love the fact that Clayton just continued to try to punch that paint against the Arkansas zone. He can make tough guarded shots as well as any guard in this league.
Eric Musselman's trying to find a point guard, and with the playing time that Layden Blocker has gotten in this one, the freshman from Little Rock looks like he's getting an opportunity.
Well, Blocker brings toughness and competitive fight and fire, and that's been the DNA of Arkansas over the years. Arkansas has gotten off to slow starts before in SEC play and have rebounded tremendously, but they've done it with a bunch of competitive dudes. And Eric Musselman right now goes to his bench. A guy like Blocker is going to get a chance.
Blocker's getting a chance. Joseph Pinion off the bench, who's got 5 points early on for Arkansas. And on the drive, a foul on Florida's Micah Handlog team.
That is Arkansas's offense at their best. They are 6th in the country, are the Hogs, getting to the foul line 27 times a game. And if you're Florida, your guarding the ball defense is going to be tested this afternoon.
19 of their 79 points per game come from the charity stripe, to your point. This is an Arkansas team that was preseason ranked 14th in the country, but it's been a rough year for the Hogs, and especially in conference play, where a week ago, Auburn came to town, and they put the worst loss on them in the history of Bud Walton Arena.
Are you as surprised as I am at the score of that A&M Kentucky game? I'm not surprised that A&M won. But Kentucky's problem right now, if they're legitimate national championship contenders on the defensive end. A&M had come in time their last 2 games in SEC play, scored 53 and 55. Today they had 89 in regulation against Kentucky. That's a concern for Big Blue Nation.
Here's Davenport in transition, his second 3 of the game.
That zone defense has given Arkansas confidence in this first half. Eric Musselman flipped the game when he went to this big extended 2-3 matchup zone. They've only worked on it for 2 days. Can they identify it's a matchup zone? Who's my guy? Make sure we don't have 2 on the ball.
To your point about A&M finding some offense, the SEC is home to 3 of the top 10 scoring offenses in all of college basketball. One of them is Florida, 86 points a game. That's 10th best. Shot clock is late. Clayton gives it up. They try to go high-low, and Poland late in the clock gets fouled with 0.8 of his second left.
And the value of late clock playmaking guards, though. This time it's Poland as that shot clock winds down. That ball gets kicked out. He knows I got to make a play. And a bad angle. Look at blocker attack that ball with a big right step, and Muss says, why? Just close out with a disciplined closeout, and we're in business.
It is the second foul this game that Arkansas has committed with less than a second on the shot clock. Zion Pullen makes the first.
And Tom, I'm telling you, when you're 0-2 in conference play, as good as the league is this year in SEC, both head coaches are asking their guys, are we going to draw a line in the sand today and say enough is enough is enough? Arkansas goes home next week and takes on A&M, who just beat Kentucky, and Florida, man, they go to Knoxville on Tuesday night to take on Tennessee. Just no easy ones in this league at all.
Tennessee survived against Mike White's team in Athens today. Georgia was off to its best start in 75 years.
The belief that it takes to come back and win on the road was what was most impressive by Tennessee today for me. Dalton Knecht, a 36-point game. Big-time score in this league.
Yeah, back-to-back 30-point games. First for a ball since Admiral Schofield. Brazil puts it on the floor, wanted the three. Davenport is not shot. And the rebound corralled by the Hawks. Davenport again. Feels like leather, shooting. He's got 13.
And good recognition by Brazil to not force one in that short corner and kick that ball out.
Three over the zone is good from Will Richard, who was ice cold from deep over the last couple.
Yes, he has been. But man or zone against Florida, your pickup point, Tom, it's got to be a step or two higher than normal. It doesn't matter what defense you're playing. Those guys shoot it with freedom, and they shoot it deep.
Davenport going baseline. Great defense by the big Alex Condon at 6'11". Samuel with the skip pass. One dribble pull-up. And barely drew the rim.
Bad shot, man, by Will Richard. You got Arkansas scrambling defensively and settle for a first side jumper.
Hogs had really picked it up offensively before that possession. Here's Richard in transition. Nobody stops the basketball again. That was a common theme before we came on air.
Yes, 4 or 5 times already in this game, Florida has just rushed the ball up the floor in their conversion offense. And no resistance by Arkansas in their transition defense.
Arkansas comes into this game with a net in the 100s. A couple of tough losses so far this season, but Eric Musselman has been an absolute wizard at turning seasons around. Brazil right down the paint, went for the hammer and got nothing.
But a Brazilian miss, was it not?
It sure was. And a wild shot on the other end. It'll be Arkansas basketball, chance to catch our breath. If you didn't buy a program, here's your reminder. There's a bunch of new faces out of the portal and into Gainesville. Zion Pullen, Walter Clayton Jr., really the leaders, especially in the backcourt. But Todd Golden, Jimmy Dykes did a fantastic job in the portal, getting new faces, replacing 8 Gators who moved along since last season.
He went after skilled guys is what he did. They weren't the most skilled team last year. And I don't think there's a team in this league that has changed their personality in terms of skill level and how they want to play from year 1 to year 2 than what Todd Golden has done. And man, to bring in those experienced guards, you need to go get a bucket. And that front line is young, they are tough, they are rugged, they are skilled. And I remember John Calipari talked to me last week. He said, I'm telling you, Florida, no doubt, is good enough to finish top 4 in the SEC. That's how impressed he was in this building last Saturday.
Here's Tremont Mark, who pulls it up and drains the mid-range. He's got 4. Mark and Devo Davis, the starters, both back on the floor. Davis picked up his second personal foul 5 minutes into the game, which is the reason he went to the bench.
You cannot let Tremont Mark go to his left, and you cannot get him into a pull-up jump shot. That is 1A and 1B on the scouting report.
El Ellis is on the floor for the first time for Arkansas. Loose ball. Gators find it. Kugel from the corner.
And that zone is effective, and Eric Musselman dug into the notes from his dad, who actually wrote a book, 33.9 defense, and he breaks down that matchup zone.
Graham with the turnaround jump hook. So it's one thing for his son, Eric Musselman, to know the zone so well, but how do you implement it so quickly?
Well, desperate times call for desperate measures, and they came straight to Gainesville after the loss to Georgia on Wednesday. And they practiced it 2 days. I was there with him on Thursday, and he was, man, very aggressive in terms of if we play this, we have to play harder in zone than we do in man. That's a staple, Tom, of any good zone defense. And he was also very simple with it. He didn't clog him up with a lot of thoughts. It's a matchup zone. Everyone has to have a guy. You got to point it out, play within your own triangle with two guys beside you. So far in this game, it's gotten Arkansas back in the game.
Alex Condon at the free throw line. Eric Musselman and his dad Bill were the first father-son combo head coaches in NBA history.
Well, his father Bill tried to play the matchup zone in the NBA, and they ruled it illegal back in the day. And to Coach's point, he was saying we have a man. We're playing a man-to-man, switch it all out, but it caused a flurry, but it all has also trickled down to help this Arkansas team. They're not a good man-to-man defensive team, Arkansas. They're just not built personnel-wise.
They proved that early in this game.
Absolutely, they did.
Florida had their way with the Hogs in the first 10 minutes of this game. Mitchell finds Graham, and he can't finish the flush. Here come the Gators the other way. Kugel all the way down the lane.
Tom, what's the difference? Arkansas misses one with a rim collision on their end, and Florida converts one on their end. Just the physicality of Florida right now is at another level than Arkansas.
Eric Musselman told us before the game today, I reminded my guys, you have to be physical on both ends of the floor. Ellis can't hit the reverse. Florida learned that same lesson, and they got bullied around in Oxford on Wednesday night.
Yeah, if you're not a physical driver in the SEC, watch out, you will not be rewarded.
Kugel reaping all the rewards. He's got 8 off the bench for Florida. And the Gators push their lead back to 15. Devo Davis hasn't scored. Mitchell has it stripped on the way in. Numbers for the Gators if they push. Kugel got it deep, and Graham comes away with the block.
Arkansas want one right now. I mean, you had a little momentum. Now you've lost it. What you certainly want to do if you're Arkansas, Tom, take the last shot, give yourself a chance for an offensive rebound.
Here's Tremont Mark, nice ball fake, and off the window.
Got as well as you can do it to close out the half. Arkansas survived the first 20 minutes with this Florida team. Todd Golden will be very pleased with how his team came out and threw some haymakers.
You mentioned this is a physical league. Yeah. Arkansas has had a hard time with that physicality. They're just 4 for 16 at the rim today.
And it's not a good league to not be physical this year. The two most physical teams in this league are Tennessee and Mississippi State. And I might give an edge to Mississippi State.
Tennessee was able to outlast Georgia. They don't connect at 36. Here's Zion Poland.
The zone caught Florida by surprise, obviously, so it also has given Florida a halftime adjustment how they want to attack it. They get the ball to the third side, and just a lack of urgency to fly out at a shooter from that forward position by Davenport.
Gators have been smoking hot from deep. Now 5 for 11 in the game. Jeremiah Davenport has been a savior for Arkansas today, but it's turned over on a poor pass from Mitchell. Here's Samuel, transition 3 for the big. And Mitchell with the rebound. Davenport, though, with 13 points in the first half. He's assisted on a number of buckets as well.
Yeah, he and Tremont Mark right now are probably playing the best for Arkansas. It started in the second half at Georgia. And you have to play harder in zone, Tom, than you do in man. Every coach will tell you that. As that ball gets reversed, you have to fly out at this shooter. And Davenport gets there and kind of skips his way out. Rush at the guy, make him bounce it into a shot.
So after the foul on Clayton, which was his second, Arkansas goes to work with Mark, the Houston transfer, and he's able to get it in. Played in a Final Four for Kelvin Sampson. 4-star recruit, originally out of Dickinson High School, just outside of Houston.
Arkansas just ran some false motion on the right side of the floor. All it allowed to do was Tremont Mark to size his guy up and drive hard with that left paw.
Where does Florida want to go against the zone?
Inside right there to the elbow, to the nail, square up and make a play. And that's a play right there that Samuel can make. I don't like him shooting threes. I trust him shooting it from 15.
4 years at Seton Hall out of Montreal, Quebec. Here's Mark coming off of a great effort all around, and Arkansas's lost to Georgia, but he loses the basketball. Handlocked and had him tied up. Possession arrow will keep it this way.
The lack of consistent three-point shooting really makes it a crowded floor to Tremont Mark try to drive. I mean, Davenport was tucked in the corner. He's made a couple of threes, but he's not like a 40% guy. A lot of traffic for Arkansas to try to work through.
So where is Arkansas at its best on offense?
Yeah, if they can spread you out and drive you. And we've talked about in the first half, man, you've got to be a forceful, physical driver in this league to get a call. If not, you won't get rewarded.
Davenport in traffic. Guarded by Richard. And Richard came away with a block.
Tremendous one-on-one play by Richard, was it not, to be the second guy off the floor?
Gators 5 blocks a game. Mid-range jumper from the baseline. That's Samuel.
Tom, to my point, he is a mid-range and in guy. He's not a three-point shooter. At times he tries to prove it. And man, he shoots a really clean ball from 15 foot and down. Brazil
Off the mark, and it's rebounded by Walter Clayton Jr. Played for Rick Pitino at Iona. Florida native had a chance. Pitino left Iona to follow to St. John's or come back to his home state and chose the Gators.
When you go head-to-head with Rick Pitino and you win, you've shown your chops as a recruiter, and that's exactly what Todd Golden did.
He was really proud of the transfer class that they brought in. Stolen away by Tremont Mark. And with the left hand, he finishes. Mark into double figures now.
Florida plays really fast on the offensive end, but they will be careless and sloppy at times with that ball with the best of them.
And there's a quick shot from Clayton. Florida is 12th in the country. Their average offensive possession lasts just 15 seconds. The Hogs have a run in them. Here's Davenport. Too strong, and Florida comes out with the rebound. Pull in, shares.
Wow!
What a finish by Samuel! Flew in from Jacksonville for the jam.
When you throw it to a point that Trevon Brazile can't get to it, but you do, you've done something special. Wow. Chomp, chomp at the rim. And got to go see his son play today because the game was at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right after the shoot around. It worked out perfectly for him. So the most important game of the day today for Todd Golden was that one, and now he's hoping to get another win for Florida right now.
Pinion was going for the floater, and Will Richard whistled for the foul. Todd played his college ball at St. Mary's. His wife, Megan, was the West Coast Conference Volleyball Freshman of the Year in 2007. He said, yeah, my son gets all of the athleticism from his mom.
I'm telling you, I've been in those shoes before, though. And on the day of the game, if you can break away and just spend time with your family, it's like gold. But to go be able to watch your son play here on a Saturday afternoon, and he was so excited about the opportunity, and his son delivered.
You think he learned any zone busters this afternoon watching Oak Hall play?
They won 34-30. They were favored to win by 5, so they didn't cover. That's the only thing that didn't go well for the Oak Hall Eagles this afternoon.
Find that on ESPN Bet. Zion Pullen finds Clayton. This is a tremendous Florida backcourt. And a rebound by Jalen Graham.
And those big before, they just followed the drive path of those drivers to the glass.
Pinion can't knock down the three. He got a lot of run in the first half. Must have been pleading with his team to get back. Zion Pullen got fouled. Was a little off balance. It's the first on Tremont Mark. When we return, we'll make a living at the rim.
Well, they've been really good at finishing. Now, on Wednesday night at Ole Miss, they had their shot blocked 16 times, which tied an SEC record in conference games. But, man, they got dudes, man, that get downhill off one bounce and cover a lot of ground. And they have just gone right at Arkansas. These guys in Florida, no different this afternoon.
From a different perspective, free throws coming for Poland. Todd Golden today said, man, we missed an opportunity with Kentucky. And I really view the Ole Miss game as an aberration. And to that point, Ole Miss shot 75% in the second half of that game. Poland goes 1 for 2, including 17 of 19 from 2.
Well,
defensive effort much different.
No, you're right. And Ole Miss is going to do that to a lot of people this year in Oxford. They did it again today to Vanderbilt. Matt Morrell had 6 made threes for Ole Miss. And they're on a 10-game winning streak at home right now in the Pavilion, the longest ever on that Ole Miss home court.
Yeah, Chris Beard's team now 15-1. What a start. I say what a start. We're halfway through the season now.
Yeah, today is the official kind of the halfway point overall when you talk about non-conference play and where we are in SEC play.
Good look from Pinion. Kick out to Graham. Shot clock is at 1. Pinion beat the shot clock but couldn't get it in the bucket.
And Tom, over the last 3 years, Arkansas at this point of the season had built up some equity in their non-conference schedule with good wins and their net ranking. Not the case right now. So they're off to a bad start in SEC play without that non-conference strength to help them.
Pinion will go into the free throw line. Talked to Eric Musselman about that. He said, I gave my team a bunch of examples of other teams that got off to slow starts that then put together championship type seasons. Pinion's got 2 free throws coming his way. Seen a lot of minutes tonight as Pinion. Makes another. Here's the graphic they showed to their team. Go back to the 0-2A's, a tremendous rotation. Started 6 games under 500 at a major league record. 20 straight wins on the way to winning 103 games. One of just a handful of examples. The Blues from a few years ago who finished by winning the Stanley Cup after a poor start. He said, listen, this can be done.
Yeah. And how refreshing is it to visit with a head coach and you ask him a question? He says, well, here's exactly what I showed my guys. And he spins the computer around. And Eric Musselman is pushing every button that he can. But at some point, and your dudes on the floor have to say, we've had enough. Pinion, man, the best game he's had this year for Arkansas. The zone defense has helped keep him on the floor. But he's got a shot and a stroke. The confidence starting to grow.
He has been fantastic off the bench so far today. He's got 9 points, perfect from the free throw line. Kugel left alone for 3, didn't pull the trigger, now does. Made it a little bit harder and it still went in.
Yeah, Bayfall was there, and as soon as he backed away just a little bit, it gave Kugel enough airspace to rise and fire. Big shot by Kugel.
Mark around Fall screen. And Pinion fighting for the rebound. Here's Richard in transition. Pinballs around, and the Gators end up picking up a foul out of the scramble.
Both teams have played hard in this game. And when you're 0-2 and you're Florida and you've already lost once on your home floor, you expect maximum effort, all gas, no breaks. And that's how they played so far. And they've played pretty clean. That's the first thing Todd was concerned about this afternoon. As fast as we play, we've got to play clean with the ball. Pretty good taken care of so far.
And he was the first one out in the floor to congratulate Kugel for getting dirty. Here's pulling for 3. Pinion lost it off his shins after getting a handle on it. Numbers for the Gators, 5 on 3. Richard, triple, got it!
They are good. The Florida Gators are in a scrambled, broken floor situation because of multiple shooters you can throw ahead to.
Leighton Blocker running the point for the Hogs. He and Pinion seeing more time today than they have in a long time. Pinion's got a season high in points. Graham, nice spin.
There's not better feet in a low post scoring situation in this league than what Graham has. How can that happen,
Don't
Tom?
blink. They shove it up the floor.
Run it right up your backside. That's at least 5 or 6 times in this game Arkansas has scored on one end or gotten a good shot, and Florida just races it right back up, scores within the first 3 of the shot clock.
Jimmy, I think I know what your answer is going to be to this question, but could that be attributed to the fact that Eric Musselman's basically playing a new and reserve backcourt in terms of not getting back?
Yes, a little bit, but there's got to be some urgency. Like Pinion is jogging, guys are pointing, no one's stopping the ball. That's just getting out in front of your defense. That lack of sprinting, pointing, talking will just jump off the film for Eric Musselman when he shows his guys.
20-point lead is the largest of the game for Florida. Here's Richard. And the loose ball collected by Davenport. He's got Blocker. And Blocker is able to pick up the foul. 7'1" Micah Handlarton.
Go back to Todd Golden out on the floor, celebrating his dudes, diving on the wood. To me, he's the great combination of new school analytics and completely gets the human part of the game. And his engagement with his guys is top level.
Monday will cap off NFL Wildcard Weekend with the Eagles and Bucks at 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN+. Our MegaCast coverage also includes Peyton and Eli over on ESPN2. By the way, I went to Spurrier's last night for dinner. The drink coaster said you can't spell citrus without UT. I don't know how Peyton feels about that one.
I had someone offer me tickets to the Kansas City Chiefs game tomorrow night. It was going to be minus 20?
Yeah. It's tonight. I don't think you can make it there in time. But if you do, bring your long johns. Kugel, what a move. And he'll go to the free throw line to try and finish off. He put Blocker in the spin cycle.
Only scoring 80 points per 100 possessions is a real drop-off. There's a couple of things that factor in here, Tom. You look at Arkansas's roster the past 2 or 3 years when they have been able to flip it around. You've had guys like Ricky Council, Jordan Walsh, Nick Smith, Anthony Black, Jalen Williams, Moses Moody, Amude. I mean, those guys are making a lot of money in pro ball right now. And Arkansas doesn't have that on their roster this year. Maybe a guy, but they don't have that elite level, talented offensive guy. But that hasn't been Arkansas's identity either. Arkansas has never shot better than 33.4% from three under Musselman. His best team's identity have been fighting, competitive, tough, aggressive, hard-nosed basketball dudes. And that's the growth that this team has to take.
So with all of those qualities that you mentioned, the question is, how do you find those stats in the transfer portal? How do you identify those players when it's not available in a box score?
Tom, it's so tough because that transfer portal, you have to react and make your decisions quickly. So you go after guys that you make as much homework as you can and make a quick decision. And Eric Musselman has been as good as anybody in the country over the last several years. And this group right now, though, to me, they have not bought into how hard you have to play for 40 minutes and how much dog you have to consistently have in you.
There's a great quote that's floating around from, I think, a couple of years ago from Gino Auriemma, and he said, if I'm recruiting you, you're already a star player. So when I come watch one of your high school games or summer games, I'm not watching you play. I'm watching your body language. I'm watching how you interact with teammates, how you react to coaching. I'm watching everything else that tells me whether or not you're a championship player. Yeah, the stats don't.
No, well, you don't miss on talent at this level as a evaluator in recruiting. What you can miss on is, does this kid love the game? Is this kid a worker? Does this kid have a good voice? Does this kid make good off-court decisions? And you're making all those decisions, Tom, in a very short window now with that transfer portal.
Walter Clayton couldn't finish the layup on the run. A little bit high for Brazil. And he may have tweaked his knee, either coming up or coming down. Clayton with the left. He's got rejected, but it's off of Arkansas, I thought.
A massive effort, though, by Layden Blocker to split back and get involved with a blocked shot. And you watch Blocker right here. He comes with a sprint. That's off of Florida, right? Didn't it come down off of Clayton?
Yep. Well, Clayton tried to kick it back in off of Blocker, but he had already stepped down out of bounds.
There's still 10 more minutes left in this game. If Arkansas can move that ball, make some shots, and continue to fight on the glass is probably their biggest concern right now on that Arkansas bench.
Graham out to Brazil. Well, Graham just refuses, Jimmy, even though he's had opportunities in windows. Here's Kugel again.
Wow. What a seal-off, though, and a sprint ability by Alex Condon. I mean, Kugel's going to get the 2 points, but man, what a screen assist by the freshman Alex Condon.
Riley Kugel had 17 in the matchup last year with Arkansas. He's got 17 in this one to match his career high. Pinion off the mark.
That would hurt the backboard.
The shot or the dunk? I can't decide which side you're talking about. Condon and one, and a flex for the freshman from Australia, Alex Condon, going to the free throw line.
I really like this kid, man. Big-time athlete at 6'11", 230. And he was a high-level Australian rules football player growing up, to the point that he was tracking to be a pro Australian football player. His dad actually was one. But his play before in transition, where he sprinted and sealed the guy off, just tells you the big Valentine that this kid plays with. He's got a chance to be special. He's got a big-time stroke, a pick-and-pop threat. I love 21 in white.
You talk about playing with heart after that Ole Miss beatdown. He said, it wasn't much effort. We played soft defensively, and all that is pride.
Yeah.
10 offensive rebounds is the most for a Gator this century. We mentioned his dad, Damien, who played footy, and his mom, Leah, was on the Australian national swim team. So good genes from down under.
And good minutes out of Layden Blocker again. Just a physical, forceful, drag the officials into the game with a drive like that.
Condon looking for a touch. Shot clock at 10. Clayton took a bump out of bounds, stepped on the inline. How about that seal off from Condon?
I love it. First of all, his ability to sprint in front of the defense. Now watch him right here. This is a high IQ play to seal his guy off, and Brazil can't roll off of him quick enough. And that won't go down as an assist, but that's an assist on film later on when Florida breaks this film down.
Arkansas shooting just 33% from the floor in the second half. Only 1 for 4 from 3. Graham keeping it alive. Finally turned to his left and left it short. Condon's got 9 boards in this one.
Tom, Florida can score with ease. They're going to hang 85-90 most likely on Arkansas. They're high-powered offense, and if they decide to have discipline on the defensive end, they can finish in the top 4 in the SEC. I love their roster. Your first time to see them as well, right? What do you think?
The size really jumps out.
Yes.
I don't think you can appreciate it on TV. Not just Handlogton and Condon, but also Samuel. And there's a finish by Tremont Mark. He's got a dozen. And Poland's listed at 6'4", 206. He is thick point guard. Good size. Condon was wide open.
In a matchup zone, if you ain't pointing, you ain't playing. And that's how you communicate, especially on the road.
Kugel steps through. He was their leading scorer last year when Colin Castleton was out. Trying to get it going off the bench. And I think Todd Golden, even though Condon was one to finish the play, has to be happy with Riley Kugel's effort on both sides today.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, his confidence finishing at the rim is not where it needs to be. He has missed 3 or 4 today, just right there around the glass.
Denijay Harris is on the floor for Arkansas for the first time. Blocker at the rim.
He is earning his stripes right now in front of Eric Musselman. This kid has always had a motor. His competitive fire now can be contagious.
4-star recruit out of Sunrise Christian Academy. Started his high school career at Little Rock Christian. It'll be Arkansas basketball. Florida with a comfortable lead. 6:08 to go in regulation. Speaking of Houston, Jimmy, not only are they onto a nice little run, but 50 points a game they're allowing, and their opponents only shooting 35% from the floor.
Their commitment to defense is ridiculous, and as common and as popular as drop coverage is for a big in college basketball, Kelvin Sampson will have no part of it. They demand those guys to be up and impact that ball. But it is a lot tougher sledding through that Big 12 this year than what they've been used to. They're built for it. I love his quote. He said, "We didn't come to the Big 12 to collect autographs and take pictures. We're here to win this thing." And that's how he's wired, and that's how they're wired. I spent time with him before Christmas.
Kai Mitchell left short. Tyrese Samuel, another rebound. 7th double-double of the season. He had a stretch earlier this year where he had 3 consecutive double-doubles. It's only the 4th Gator in the last 15 seasons put together those stat lines consistently. Foul charge to Condon will be his 4th.
Tom, you and I spent a lot of time in this SEC over the next 9 or 10 weeks and over the years. And this is the best overall collection of head coaches that this league has ever had at one time. And I firmly believe that although Kentucky lost today, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Auburn are 3 of the top 10 teams in the country. Auburn with Bruce Pearl should probably be having a lot of conversation right now about National Coach of the Year, but those other squads right now, Florida on our floor right now, Ole Miss, I mean, Alabama, they're legit 8-9 deep. Georgia played the socks off of Tennessee today. It's the best this league has been in depth in a long, long time.
What do you make of the scoring in the league? 3 in the top 10 in the country in terms of points scored per game.
It tells you how good this league is, because this is a long, athletic, defending, jumping, shot-blocking league. And it has been a league that's been hard to watch at times offensively. Not the case this year.
As of today, Lunardi has 8 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. That doesn't include Florida. Banked in! Oh, the bank is open late Saturday in Gainesville for Riley Kugel. He's turned in a 20-burger today.
He had a get-on-the-same-page meeting with Todd Golden.
I guess it worked.
It worked really well after that Ole Miss loss. And Todd walked out yesterday before practice and sat down with me for a few minutes. He said, I will be shocked if Riley Kugel doesn't have a great game tomorrow afternoon. Prophetic stuff from the head coach.
Knows his team. Here's Mitchell. And Kugel hustling for that one, knocked it off of Mitchell. Did he play on this one?
No, you don't. When it's going your way, it's going your way. This is a lean back throw of a ball more than a shot. And Riley Kugel now, his body, just how he moves on film, he moves like a pro defender. When he's locked in, there's not a better on-ball defender in this SEC.
Well, it's great to see a smile from Riley Kugel. He was their main offensive weapon last year after Colin Castleton was injured. They brought in some other weapons this season. Todd Golden said, hey, I'm asking for more of you. I don't need necessarily more scoring, but more of everything else. Solid block by Makai Mitchell.
You know who made watch out? This could come into us.
Kugel. And he is a freight train on the open floor.
And there's a reason why you were open. Same reason it's been for the last 25 years of your life.
Sound like my high school coach. Kugel kind of kicks it inside, and that'll put Micah Handlogton.
Well, 15 years ago today.
Who's that?
Jody Meeks, 54 points at Tennessee in a 90-72 win. 15 years ago today. Me and Brad Ness were all on that call here in the SEC.
Handlogton at the free throw line.
How many games would you have to play to score 54?
All of them. It still wouldn't happen because nobody would put me on the floor.
All of them?
Yeah. Pinion. Nice feed to Brazil.
Pinion's made the most of his time today. You look at the minute distribution of Musselman today with his guys. Battle, 2 minutes. Minifield, 2 minutes. Devo, 11 minutes. Message being sent. Will message be received?
And what will the response be with A&M coming in?
Tom, there will be a good team or two this year in the SEC that will finish with only 3 or 4 or 5 wins. That's just how good this league is. You start feeling sorry for yourself and start pouting as a player, you're putting your team in a bad spot.
And the former Pirate from Seton Hall, Tyrese Samuel, off the feed from Kugel. He's got 15. Brazil, deep three.
Tom, when you start looking at teams come March that can win a couple of games, do they have experienced guards that can go get you a bucket and can shoot it? Florida checks that box. Do they have bigs that can protect the rim, score at the rim, get you in foul trouble? Florida checks that box. Can they score with ease? A lot of good things out of this Florida team going forward.
Richard has it skipped off the rim, but they pick up an offensive board, and Handlogton's got 5 points. Florida's scoring 1.3 points per possession. That is A nice clip if you like offense. Here's Blocker down the lane. And he'll get a trip to the free throw line with 1:59 to play. Tuesday, our ESPN doubleheader starts with these Florida Gators going on the road to Rocky Top to take on number 5 Tennessee. That's at 7 Eastern. And Kansas is on the road in Stillwater to square off with Oklahoma State. Tennessee and Kansas lost earlier this week along with Houston and Purdue. Feels like college basketball. Every year we go, well, hey, what's going on? It's just the nature of college hoops.
Yeah.
They show up every day.
You had the same question that NBA scouts have had for me concerning Dalton Knecht at Tennessee. How's he going to hold up once you get to that SEC athletic level? Well, he's held up pretty well. 36 today at Georgia, 28 in a loss to Mississippi State earlier this week. But Dalton Knecht makes Tennessee a legitimate Final Four contender this year. They finished that game today, Tom, on a 15-1 run. Tennessee hasn't had that offensive firepower in the past. They do this year. Man, what a tremendous bounce back outing by Riley Kugel. What he played 3 minutes in their loss at Ole Miss and responds today in the proper fashion.
3 minutes against Ole Miss, 0 points. And one of his best games today since he had back-to-back games against Baylor and Wake, where he scored 25 and 24. Allowed Todd Golden to get some guys in off the bench, and a foul on the drive will be charged. Just Tremont Mark. Great game by Kugel, but Jimmy, on the Arkansas side, Devo Davis hasn't scored in this game. What role is he going to play if Arkansas wants to realize some goals that they have set for the season?
Yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to answer for their individual effort right now. Because think about Arkansas today, Tom. 14 different Arkansas players played in this game. Only 6 have scored. And if you just go off of this film, a kid like Pinion is going to get a lot of minutes going forward if I think Eric Musselman is who I think he is. He's going to reward these guys now based on effort and toughness and how they play. And you got guys on the bench that don't want to step up and with that responsibility of what a Hog uniform is supposed to be in his eyes, he'll have no problem sitting guys going forward. I have zero doubt about that.
Kais Kubliskas knocks down the first free throw. Florida right at its season average for points per game, which is 10th most in the country. And they exceed it with that free throw.
Todd Golden got a great performance from his son Jake. 24 points in a 34-30 win, and he's going to be just as proud and pleased with his guys this afternoon. They have locked up Arkansas defensively. They've taken good shots. They've taken care of the ball. Very connected team this afternoon in Gainesville.
Mark, no look inside to Graham. Well, you'll be with Ravi on Tuesday night and have this Florida team on Rocky Top against Tennessee. How do you view that matchup?
Tough out. A very tough out Florida's going to be because they can really, really score. And they've got the size, I think, to bang with Tennessee. To my point right there, Condon, Hamilton, Houck didn't get a lot of minutes today. Those guys just bang away at you. Tyrese Samuel as well. And Jake says, you're playing like me.
Condon at the free throw line trying to make it a three-point play. Think about the margin of error within this league. Tennessee was this close to starting league play 0-2 after losing midweek on the road at Mississippi State.
I thought the same thing today. Standing in line at Publix to get a sandwich before this game. Watching it on my phone. Sweating through that one. But you and I will be in Rupp Arena next Wednesday. Big time matchup now. Mississippi State at Kentucky on Wednesday night.
Mississippi State, one of just a handful of teams in this league that has gotten better thanks to either a player coming back from injury or the double transfer being approved. They got a lot better with Tolu Smith joining the team around Christmas time.
I just think they're the most physical team 1 through 5 that the SEC has, and Tennessee has hung their hat on that for many years. But I think Mississippi State has probably gone a little notch above that. They're both extremely physical. Man, that front line of Tolu Smith and Jimmy Bell, Cam Matthews, DJ Jeffries, big physical guards as well. There are no nights off in the SEC this year. Sometimes you just say it because it sounds cool to say, but it's a true statement this year.
Shot coming for Layden Blocker. And he gets the first one to go. Hey, by the way, got a chance to help out Dickie V. Go to v.org/super16 and help fight pediatric cancer research. $100 donation per chance. You can win dinner at Dick's home. Get a chance to go to the gala in the spring. What a fantastic effort. He continues to fight hard to raise funds. Dickie V, we love you. We miss you. Just down the road here in his home state in Gainesville. Taken away by the Gators. And I bet Dickie will be tweeting about this Florida team because, to your point, Jimmy, they are loaded.
Well, it was a tough blow when they lost here last Saturday to Kentucky because they felt like they outplayed Kentucky for the majority of that game, and they did. They just didn't get the win. And they ran into a buzzsaw at Ole Miss in midweek, but they're bounced back today. How they've played, very impressive. Arkansas struggling, Tom, but Florida today, they put 90 up again. They move the ball, multiple weapons. They can score from all 5 spots. They were connected defensively. They will be a tough out in this rugged SEC over the next 2 months.
And including Tuesday night on Rocky Top on Super Tuesday, loose ball, and Florida comes out with it. It will turn into a comfortable 22-point win for this Florida team, improving to 11-5, and Todd Golden's squad finds its first conference win of the season.